For the past 3 years, I have had essentially two phone lines. I've had a Verizon family plan and a prepaid AT&T plan. Can you guess which of the two I like better? This little SIM card and this prepaid Go phone card are really all I need. There's no contracts, no crazy credit checks, and in the case of Verizon, there's no business of, oh, we need to let you use the phones only we decide you can. Not to mention they don't come with bloatware. And these days there are three types of SIMs. You've got your standard SIM, which I use in my Just 5 phone. You've got your micro SIM, which is a lot more common in Android devices. And then you've got the nano SIM, which the Apple iPhone uses. Now, in regards to getting something off contract, let's take a look at something. 2-year service agreement. This Galaxy S5 Active, $199. The Galaxy S5, also $199. And you're probably thinking, well, what's so bad about a 2-year contract? Well, how would you like to see how much these things cost without one? Let's switch. No annual contract. $659.99. $649.99. $670. You get the idea. $485. Just over $500. Now, you're probably thinking, I get a better deal on the contract. No, you don't. You really don't. And the reason I say that is because, have you ever wondered why your bill is so high? Well, part of the reason is because you're actually paying this full price. Whoops, I probably clicked on details about that phone. I didn't want to do that. Oops. Did I go too far back? Yeah, I did. Anyway, what I'm trying to say here is you're paying this full amount. So let's say again, you want the Galaxy S5 Active for $199, and you're thinking 2-year contract's not so bad. Well, if we say no annual contract, that pushes it to $659, and again, you're paying for that $659 through your contract. The really cool thing about paying for a phone outright is the fact that it's your phone. You own it. And like I said, you put one of those phones together, all you need is a SIM and a pay-as-you-go plan, and you're set. What about the iPhone? You're probably thinking you would need a contract to buy that too. No, you don't. Actually, the GSM unlocked iPhones. Now, unlocked, the best analogy I could think of is, with your house phone, you could get whatever house phone you want. You don't need your phone company's approval, right? Have you noticed how that's completely different with the cell phone? Well, with a SIM card and a prepaid plan with a GSM unlocked phone, you get that same kind of freedom that you do on from your house phone. You get that same kind of freedom with a cell phone. So I realize these may be hard to see. I think it's because I need to select something here. But I'll go ahead and explain this. So choose a model. There we go. Now I got it. I don't come here very often. So choose a model. We'll say 64 gigs. $399. Right? So we could select our carrier, Verizon, Sprint, AT&T. AT&T, you can get it on contract. You could also get it off contract. Look at these prices, $649, $749, or if we select the 64 gig off contract, it's $849. Again, you may think it's cheaper when you pay for the contract, but you're actually paying for the phone over the term of your contract. Plus, you're locked in. And unfortunately, with the way technology is progressing these days, this is just my view, but I feel like contracts are very outdated. A lot of companies are answering this by introducing, Verizon's got an Edge plan. I don't know what AT&T calls theirs. Let's take a look. Let's see. AT&T. Here it is. AT&T Next is what they're calling theirs. And what that is you upgrade under your contract and you have to pay for the phone under monthly installments. Well, what happens if you decide you want to leave AT&T before your contract is up? You probably have to pay the ETF. Keyword is probably, because I'm not sure how the Next plan works. You'd probably have to pay your ETF for the contract plus the remaining balance on the phone. The beautiful part, again, about one of these prepaid plans, in the case of AT&T, it's GoPhone. It's just like your standard phone company. There's no worry about long-term contracts and being locked in. So let's take a look at some other devices. On the Android side, we've got the Google Nexus 5. This seems a lot more reasonable, doesn't it? $349 for 16, $399 for 32. Now that's a heck of a lot better. That's a heck of a lot better than $700 or $800. Keep in mind, you're not getting, perhaps your build quality might not be as nice, but it's certainly doable. If you're not too fond of the Nexuses, like let's say for instance you like the Samsung hardware, but you want to go with a stock Android, well, again, this is where the freedom of GSM and the SIM cards really come into play here, because all of these devices are GSM unlocked. So let's take a look at the HTC One M8, which happens to be one of my favorite smartphones. Let's look at this. $699. Completely unlocked. It's a GSM quad band, which means it's a world phone. Completely unlocked. And you're probably thinking, well, I could pay much less up front if I go with a contract. Well, here's another way to look at it, actually. Today's smartphones are more than just phones. To be honest, for the casual user, and I stress, casual user who all they do is consume information, maybe write the occasional Word document, these phones could certainly be hooked up to an HDMI TV, and you could hook up a Bluetooth keyboard to do some extensive typing. You'd have your bigger screen and a much more comfortable typing experience. You could hook up a Bluetooth mouse, and it would all be done through your phone. Now, I'm not saying that the hardware might not be strained. I'm just saying that the possibility is there for it to be done. There are a lot of factors that play into this, but hear me out. What I'm basically getting at is, you're probably thinking these $600, $700 devices are expensive. You have to remember that these are not just phones, but they are true computing devices. And if you look at it in that respect, especially if you're thinking, could a smartphone replace a computer? And I just did some Googling on this and came across this really cool article. So the question about this person asked, my old computer is on the way out, but instead of buying a new one, I thought about using their smartphone. And the answer is today's smartphones are small, powerful computers that fit in your pocket, and you can do a lot of the same things you do on your PC, including web browsing, email, watching video. Now, I'm not going to go through this entire article. If anybody wants me to link to them, I can do it either in the description or through a private message, whatever you prefer. But to put it simply, she goes on to talk about the benefits of utilizing a smartphone as a computer, with caveats raised about, for instance, having multiple tabs open in a web browser. But it's certainly very doable, I think, for a lot of people. And, again, I think that getting an unlocked device with this little SIM card, you have no idea how liberating it is. If you want to take a look, you can take a look at my video on the Just 5, and you can see how I came to get a prepaid plan, and I just couldn't be happier. I don't have to worry about overages. I don't have to worry about whether or not I use certain features. My Galaxy Note 2 comes with a whole bunch of interesting software. My Verizon Mobile is something I use quite a bit. NFL is something that I couldn't care less about. Amazon is something I use quite a bit. But the problem is Verizon automatically bundles all this stuff in whether you need it or not. That's another real nice benefit of having an unlocked device, is you're free of carrier bloatware. So, and also if you want to travel abroad, you cannot use a Verizon phone. Well, yes you can, but you have to go through the process of unlocking it. Today's phones do have world roaming agreements, but I would bet you they are not cheap. So the really cool thing about an unlocked phone for world travelers is let's just say, for sake of argument, that I had a Nexus 5 and I wanted to go to England. I could actually remove my AT&T SIM and pop in a SIM from O2 or Orange. Why would I want to do that? Save money on overseas calling fees. And there are a lot of providers that offer low-cost international rates that are GSM networks, that any smartphone you could just pop in your SIM and you're good to go. This is what I'm talking about when I say liberating. You don't have to worry about what Big Red or the orange and blue globe tell you. You are in control of your phone and your plan. And I honestly think that that's how the cell phone industry in the United States really should be. T-Mobile is starting this, but I think it's probably, and I actually read an article about this. The author, and I tend to agree with them, thought that it was under pressure from their European parent. Now, for those of you who do not know, T-Mobile USA is actually owned by Deutsche Telekom in Germany, I believe. They're actually a USA subsidiary of a European company. Now, over in Europe, they've mandated GSM, which stands for Global System for Mobile Communication. That's what these SIM cards are. They are GSM dependent for GSM phones. Over in Europe, they have a very huge mobile culture. It's not uncommon for somebody to have multiple phones, much like I have multiple watches for different occasions. Some people might have different phones for different occasions over there. It's not uncommon to swap your SIM quite regularly. And they get the same sort of freedom because in some countries, it's illegal to lock your phone. Here in the United States, some of the phones that I showed you are available on AT&T. If you get them on contract, you're stuck. They are locked to the carrier. In some countries in Europe and across the world, that is illegal. We use GSM here in the States under AT&T and T-Mobile, and the beautiful part is that you can bring over whatever phone you want, and that's especially liberating if you follow the phone industry and are really into phones like myself, because there are phones that are released across the globe that you wouldn't be able to use here in the States on Verizon or Sprint. However, if it supports the proper frequency bands, especially for LTE, that can be a bit touchy. But if it supports the proper frequency bands, and you're willing to pay the import fees, you could get a phone that we couldn't even get here domestically in the States, all because of that little SIM. And I just think that more carriers need to follow the European model. I'm very seriously thinking about, and it all rides on, because as I've said before in my previous videos, And I do apologize for repeating myself, but I get new subscribers from time to time, so I want to inform them that I am looking for work. That's going to ride on this decision. And if everything works out, my hope is to, at the turn of the holidays, to essentially abandon Verizon. And I've already got an AT&T plan. Again, like I said, prepaid. Just add data to the prepaid plan and put on an automatic deduct of $60 a month for that, and just get myself either a Nexus 5 or an HTC One M8 off-contract Google Play edition. But again, I think that we need to start embracing the European model a lot more. What do you guys think? This is just sort of a rant, but what do you guys think? Thank you for watching. Comments are welcome, and have a nice day.